It's much different when you're dry digging. So this is what we consider dry digging for quahogs, where you're not in the water. It's something you might do at Scudder Lane or Rendezvous on the north side. So Lisa's gonna show the right-handed technique. And you can see the technique where her dominant hand, her right hand is on top, her left hand is on bottom, and she's just scratching along the surface with her tines. The pole here is sitting on her shoulder for some support. I do it a little differently if I'm digging on shore. So I stick it under my armpit. I'm left-handed, so my left hand is going on top, my right hand is going on the bottom, and I stick it under my armpit, or I just hold it down and I just scratch the surface. And I just bring up whatever I find. Quahogs only sit a couple inches below the surface. So just by scratching, you should be able to find them. Now this is just wild fishing, right? So shell fishing, it's part of fishing. You might not always find something. So it's a matter of going to an area where you think you're gonna find something. Testing out new spots. Now especially, quahogs like to hang out around rocks. So Lisa, I bet if you go and dig around that rock, so it's really just scratching around the surface, seeing if we're gonna find anything. And once you hit something, you're gonna go down a little farther. Now look at what I found, a tiny quahog. Quahogs need to be 1-inch hinge width. So we're looking at the width of this animal, and we'll use our 3-in-1 gauge. So oysters, steamers in the middle, quahogs, this middle wide one. And you use it and you just drop the quahog through. And that one went straight through, so we know this is less than 1 inch wide. That means it's seed. We have to actually throw that back. If it retains, if it stays in this gauge, then we know it's wide enough and we can keep it and put it in our basket. Now, quahog seed, if you're in the water, you can just throw this right back, it'll dig back in. But if you're on the shore, you want to replant it. And quahogs, I know it looks like it's pretty much the same, but it's not. It's a little different on both sides. So the foot comes out the bottom. You can see that little arch goes down. It's like a nose pointing down. That's kind of how I think of it. And the foot comes out the bottom, and you're just gonna put that part right down, that nose right down, sideways in there, and it's good to go. So that's replanted. And you would just keep scratching around until you fill your basket one even peck. Now, you're not always gonna fill your basket when you go out. It's, like I said, it's fishing. It can be challenging. You're covering a lot of area. So if you do make any holes, again, you wanna make sure that you fill it right back in, turning up a lot of ground here. Now, there's another way to do this. And if you're in the water, fully in the water, submerged, you're gonna use a little bit of a different technique. So I like to show people this technique before we go out in the water, just so you can see it on land, because when we do get in the water, sometimes it's hard to visualize. So again, I'm putting this rake on my left shoulder because I'm left-handed, dominant hand on top, non-dominant on the bottom. And you're going to slowly pull towards yourself and back. Pull towards and back off. Pull towards, back off. And you can see I'm slowly accumulating sand in my rake. When we're in the water, you're actually gonna get a lot of that flow, and that sand's gonna go out through the rake. So you're pulling, 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 and this is the tricky part. Pulling, 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 and now we have to get this all into our rake without losing it. So come down a little bit on the rake, just like you would choke up on a baseball bat. Pull it towards yourself and behind, and then shake it out. And there we go. We got a quahog. And that's the technique. Pull it towards yourself. So you see that basket flip? You want to pull towards, get it like that, scoop it, and shake. And that's probably the hardest part that people have when they're learning, is getting that flip right so that it stays in their basket. When we're in the water, it's a good idea to have your basket floating. I don't have a line attached to me. That's also a good idea so your basket doesn't float away. So you can tie it to your waders here, tie it to your waist. Similar to how Lisa was doing it on shore. You're gonna have your handle here on your dominant shoulder, your dominant hand side, and you put your dominant hand on top, your non-dominant hand on the bottom. Now I'm left-handed, so my left hand's on top, my right hand's on bottom. Lisa's your righty over there, so she can show you that technique. Her right hand's gonna be on top, left hand on the bottom, and they're both pressing against your shoulder, but your shoulder gets sore. I've seen a lot of people put pool noodles around there, and that way it protects your shoulder, or you can wear a life jacket, which we do a lot. Just get those tines in, and I can actually feel one right off the get-go. So you're gonna get those tines in. Remember, those quahogs or hard-shell clams are only a couple inches down. So you're gonna scratch the surface. It's kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're just really trying to get those tines in there and work it. So work it towards yourself. You're slowly going 2 steps forward, 1 step back, really getting those tines in, really getting in. And you're gonna go maybe a foot, maybe even 2 feet to see if you get anything. Once you feel something, you're gonna really get in there, try to get underneath. Now here's the hard part. When you wanna bring up your basket rake, you have to do this sweeping motion. Pull towards yourself and up like so, and then bring it forward. So you're using that water to push against the rake so that everything in there stays inside the rake. Now we got some shells or shack, but we did get a quahog. So you see, I like to shake out my catch. So you get that mud out of there so you get a nice clean catch in there. And now we have to check it for size. So again, we're gonna see, yes, it definitely retains on there. And this is actually, I'd say this is a cherry stone size. So a lot of the time I get asked, you know, where are the littlenecks or where are the chowders? And I think it's just people asking, where are the quahogs or the hard shell clams? Littlenecks indicate a certain size. So littlenecks are the smallest that are legal size. Then you have top necks, which are a little larger, cherry stones, which are probably this size, and then chowders, which are the big ones. Those are all just names for the quahog. It's all the same animal, same species, just different sizes. So this one is a keeper. And you can just keep going like that. So remember, you're keeping it on your shoulder. You kind of have a stance like you're ready to run a race. Keep that on your shoulder. Really get in. So you're gonna really get in under those quahogs. You can hear the difference between a rock and a quahog after a while. You do it enough. All right, and remember, pull towards yourself and back. And I think I got a really nice rock. I did, I got a nice rock. You shake it out, a nice rock, and a huge quahog, a nice chowder sized quahog. And then you go chase down your basket. There we go. And the limit for this, again, 1 level pack per week on Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday.